Good day guys, welcome to yet another wonderful session of learning with Prepclass. My name is Tutor Olalekon Israel, your Prepclass tutor. Now in today's video, we will be answering questions from the JAMB English 2020 past questions. Question 6 to question 10. Now question 6 to question 10 is a passage. So we are going to read the passage first. But before we read the passage, kindly subscribe to our channel so you can get free access to numerous educational materials that we post on these channels. Alright, let's begin. So the passage reads, remember, whenever you want to answer questions based on passages, you have to read the passage first before you move to the questions section. When you read the passage, you get an overview knowledge of what the passage is about. Then you move to the questions section and read each question and come back to the passage to look for where the answer is in the passage. So let's begin. We knew early in our life that the atmosphere in our home was different than in many other homes. Where husbands and wives quarrel and where there was drunkenness, laziness or indifference, things we never saw in our family. We chaffed and grumbled at the strictness of my father's regime. We went to hide whenever we broke the rules too visibly. We knew nevertheless that our parents wanted good things for us. Some of these, such as the insistence on our going to school and never missing a day. We accepted readily enough, although, like most other children, we occasionally yielded to the temptation to play truant. However, in other cases, such as their efforts to keep us out of contact with the difficult life, the drinking and fighting and beer brewing and gambling, their failure was inevitable. They could not keep us insulated. By the time we moved about, we were already seeing things with their eyes and judging things by the standard we had absorbed from them. It was brought in on me and my brother at a very early age that our father was an uncommon man. For one thing, in most African families, work around the home was women's work. So we were vastly impressed by the fact that whenever my mother was away, my father could and did do all our jobs. Cooking, cleaning and looking after us. We lived in this way in a community in which household work was regarded as beneath male dignity. Even in families which, like ours, produced boy after boy, our sister came fifth. It simply means that the mother carries a greater and greater burden of work. In our family, nevertheless, the boys did girls' work and my father did it with us. One of the prime chores of life in the family was fetching water from the pump down the street, some 200 meters from our door. Since the pump was not unlocked until 6 in the morning and there was always crowding, a system had developed where you go out before dawn, placed your 20-liter tin in line, and then went home, returning later to take your place. Often, of course, tins would be moved back in line and others moved ahead. This could be corrected if none of those in front were too big a challenge. When taps were substituted for the pumps, the first one installed was nearly a kilometer away from our house and we had to make a trek with the water and tins balanced on our heads. An indignity because this was the way girls, not proud males, carried their burdens. All the children in the neighborhood knew we did women's work and I can still hear their derisive laughter. We did our jobs doggedly, that notwithstanding, because our father and mother expected it of us. Out of choice, our father did everything we did, including fetching water on occasion, and commanded us by sheer force of his example. So, that is the end of the passage. Now, this passage is centered around a family where the children are not expected or where the children are not permitted to live any kind of life. The father is very strict. The children are not permitted to be exposed to the difficult life. Now, there is also no gender roles in this family. And the father was always leading by example. So, this is like an ideal family. Okay, let's move on to the questions section. Question 6. The word atmosphere as used in the first paragraph of the passage means what? A. Pattern. B. Preference. C. Unity. D. Disposition. The word atmosphere as used in the first paragraph of the passage means what? Now we are going to go back to the passage to read where we have the word atmosphere and understand the meaning as used in the passage. Now, to get the correct interpretation of this word, we have to read the sentence and understand the contextual use of the word. Now, this is where we have atmosphere in that paragraph. We knew early in our life that the atmosphere in our home was different than in many other homes, where husband and wives quarreled and where there was drunkenness, laziness or indifference, things we never saw in our family. So the atmosphere in other homes, like this, like the speaker is implying, was that husband and wives used to quarrel. There was always drunkenness, laziness, or indifference. So the atmosphere in their own home was different. The atmosphere as used in this context means the pattern. There was a pattern of drunkenness, a pattern of laziness in other homes, a pattern of drunkenness where husband and wives fight and quarrel, a pattern of laziness, a pattern of indifference. But these things, they never saw them in their family. They knew that the atmosphere, the pattern in their home was different. So the word atmosphere as used in the first paragraph of the passage means pattern. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. Which of the following statements captures the family's approach to work? Which of the following statements captures the family approach to work? A. The boys were not allowed to do the girls' work. B. The mother did the cooking and cleaning willingly. C. No job was reserved for anyone on the basis of gender. D. The water needed was provided by everyone. Now, the answer to this question can be found in the second and last paragraphs of this passage. Very quickly, let's check the second paragraph to look for the family's approach to work. Now, in the second paragraph we have, it was borne in on me and my brother at a very early age that our father was an uncommon man. For one thing, in most African families, work around the home was women's work. So we were vastly impressed by the fact that whenever my mother was away, my father could and did do all our jobs, cooking, cleaning, and looking after us. We lived in this way in a community in which household work was regarded as beneath male dignity. Now, household work in their community was regarded as beneath male dignity. But their father does household works like cooking, cleaning, and looking after the children whenever the mother was not around. Now, even in families which, like ours, produced boy after boy, our sister came fifth. It simply means that the mother carries a greater and greater burden of work. In our family, nevertheless, the boys did girls' work and my father did it with us. Now, the father is doing work that is called the work of girls. Even the boys did girls' work. Now, let's move on to the fourth paragraph to also check. Now, when taps were substituted for the pumps, the first one installed was nearly a kilometer away from our house, and we had to make a trek with the water tins balanced on our heads. An indignity, because this was the way girls, not proud males, carried their burdens. Now, they are actually carrying water like girls do in their community. Now, all the children in the neighborhood knew we did women's work, and I can still hear that they received laughter. We did our jobs doggedly. That, notwithstanding, because our father and mother expected it of us. Out of choice, our father did everything we did, including fetching water on occasion, and commanded us by sheer force of his example. So, by these two paragraphs, the answer to this question is no job was reserved for anyone on the basis of gender. Whenever the mother was away, the father cooks, cleans, and takes care of the children. Also, the children go about doing girls' work, like stated in the last part of the second paragraph of the passage. Also, in the fourth paragraph, they go about carrying the water tins on their heads like ladies do, and other children make jest of them. So no job was reserved for anyone on the basis of gender, regardless of the community in which they found themselves. In their community, household work was reserved for women, but their father does the household works. Even the children also, they do the household work. So no job was reserved for anyone on the basis of gender. Moving on to the next question, question number 8. Which of the following describes the father's role in the family? A. Being too hard on the children. B. Serving the children. C. Leading by example. D. Usurping his wife's role in the family. So which of the following describes the father's role in the family? Alright, so let's quickly skim through this passage to get the father's role in the family. Let's quickly skim through the passage to get the father's role in the family. Now, let's go to the last paragraph of this passage and the last sentence in the last paragraph. Out of choice, our father did everything we did, including fetching water on occasion, and commanded us by sheer force of his example. The father did everything the children did, including fetching water, and commanded us by sheer force of his example. So, the father's role in the family is leading by example. The fact that the father also fetches water shows that he is leading the children by example. The passage says he commanded us by sheer force of his example. You can't see your father going to the stream to fetch water and you sit at home crossing your legs. So he was leading them by example. That is the father's role in the family. So the answer to this question is leading by example. The father's role in the family was leading by example, joining the children to fetch water from the tap and from the pump. So it was leading by example. He commanded them by sheer force of his example. Okay, moving on to the next question. Question number 9. Question number 9 reads, by describing his father as an uncommon man, the writer means that he is dash A. strict, B. kind, C. amenable, D. remarkable. Now, what does the word uncommon mean? The word uncommon means to be unusual, to be different. The word uncommon means to be unusual, to be different. From what we saw in the passage, the father was actually an uncommon man. He was an unusual man. Doing household chores, household work, despite the community in which they find themselves, that household work was regarded as beneath male dignity. The father was uncommon, he was unusual, because he was doing household work. Joining the children to go and fetch water was unusual. So the man was an uncommon man, unusual man. He was a different man. Now, strict means to be disciplined, firm. Yes, father is strict, but being strict is not an uncommon phenomenon. Kind means to be sympathetic and helpful. Amenable means to be open to suggestions, easily persuaded and controlled. Remarkable means to be extraordinary, astonishing, impressive, and distinctive. Now, going by the description of the father in the passage, the father is actually a remarkable man. He is an uncommon man, impressive man. He was impressive. Doing household work whenever his wife was not around, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children, going to fetch water with the children was impressive. It was distinctive. It was different. It was different from other men in the community, because household work was regarded to be beneath male dignity in their community. Despite this, the man was doing all of these works. So the man was remarkable. So by describing his father as an uncommon man, the writer means that he is remarkable, he is distinctive, he is impressive. So the answer to this question is remarkable. Okay, moving on to the next question, question number 10. A suitable title for the passage is A. The unusual parent, B. A village life, C. An experience in early life, D. The problem of water. Now, the answer to this question is the unusual parent, because in the passage focuses on the man, the father. He was an unusual man, an uncommon man. Doing household chores, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children was an unusual thing to do for a man. Going to fetch water with his children, like a kilometer away from their house, was an unusual thing to do. So a suitable title for the passage is the unusual parent. The father was actually an unusual parent, going by his description in the passage. Okay, that is the end of this session. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, like and comment. Any question you have to ask, drop them in the comment section. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.